What's up, lore masters? The Dominion War was a devastating conflict that engulfed the Alpha and Beta Quadrants, leading to the loss of millions, if not billions, of lives across countless worlds. It brought the Federation to the brink of destruction, only to forge it into the strongest entity across both quadrants. But this new Federation was a shadow of its former self, tainted with dystopian elements. All of this, the war, the loss, the transformation, was entirely preventable. It never had to happen. And the key to avoiding all of it? Well, Sisko just needed to disappear. Let's just get into it.
But Dax and the others seemed to think that the accident had somehow knocked my father's temporal signature out of phase.
We think the warp core discharge pulled you into subspace. If we're right, that would explain why you didn't experience the passage of time.
So full disclosure, this is inspired by the DS9 episode, The Visitor. The episode presents a fascinating alternate universe where the Dominion War never occurred, demonstrating that without Sisko, the war wouldn't have happened, at least not in the way that we know it. But first, let's take a deeper look. The Visitor takes place in the 4th season of DS9, which corresponds to the year 2372. In universe. Looking at the Prime timeline itself, the Dominion War officially begins in 2373, so it wasn't too long before everyone started killing each other. But when we look at the alternate timeline, the one where Sisko disappeared, the war never happens.
Tensions with the Klingons were continuing to rise. My father was a kind of religious figure to the Bajoran people, and when he died, they took it as a sign from the prophets that the Federation wouldn't be able to protect them from the Klingons. Eventually, Bajor entered into a mutual defense pact with the Cardassians, and the Klingons didn't like that at all.
Instead, the Bajorans enter into a mutual defense pact with the Cardassians. Escalating tensions between the Klingons, the Bajorans, and the Federation. The Klingons, ever eager to involve themselves in Alpha and Beta Quadrant politics, end up taking control of Deep Space Nine and the Bajoran sector, even though it's on the other side of the Alpha and Beta Quadrant, but a Klingon's gonna Klingon. What's interesting here is that no full-scale war breaks out, not with the Klingons, and not with the Dominion. And this is where things get interesting. With the Klingons in control, the Dominion seems to back off. There are a few possible reasons for this. One theory is that the Klingon Empire may have been compromised. As we know, this happens in the Prime timeline, though I'll be honest, it seems unlikely.
I was hoping the first race I'd meet from the other side of the anomaly would be the Klingons. I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's too late for apologies.
Another possibility is that the Dominion saw the Klingons as a more formidable opponent and decided to hold back. There's also the chance that the Dominion observed the internal strife within the Alpha and Beta Quadrants and chose to bide their time. But ultimately, if you're asking me, which why would you be watching my video if you weren't asking me, I think it comes down to the fundamental differences between the Federation and the Klingons.
Unless you wish to continue to offend the Dominion, I suggest you stay on your side of the galaxy.
You're making a mistake if you think that detaining Commander Sisko will stop us from exploring the Gamma Quadrant.
We anticipated that response.
The Federation was committed to exploring the Gamma Quadrant, a stance that characters like Dax strongly supported. The Klingons, however, had no such ambitions, at least from what we can tell. They were content to hold their territory and didn't really push the envelope.
The Klingons agreed to let Starfleet send an expedition through the wormhole. They said it was in the spirit of scientific exchange, but I think they were happy to have us test the waters in the Gamma Quadrant after all these years, find out how the Dominion would react to ships coming through.
This restraint likely contributed to the Dominion's decision to avoid war. We also know that the Dominion respects the Klingons, at least the Jem'Hadar do. This respect, combined with the Klingons' willingness to control access to the wormhole, might have been exactly what the Founders wanted, at least for the time being. Now, I'm not saying that the Dominion would never have gone to war with the Alpha Quadrant. They likely would have, eventually. But they were playing the long game. Whether due to Klingon politics, a compromised Klingon Empire, or simply being left alone, the Dominion chose not to engage in war or conflict at that moment. So, was Sisko the direct cause of the war? Not exactly, but his disappearance set off a chain of events that ultimately led to the war not happening. If he had stayed gone, countless lives, thousands, maybe millions, would have been saved. The Federation wouldn't have been scarred by the apocalyptic conflict it endured. One man changed the fate of two quadrants. Maybe for the better, or maybe for the worse. Hey guys, what do you think? Would the galaxy have been better off without Sisko in the picture? Let's get the discussion going in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next Lore Reloaded.